Yes, Bwana Bob Mwiti.
Yes, sir.
Welcome back. Welcome back. It's been real. Tumekaa almost 1 week hatujakutana hapa.
Yeah, yeah.
So today ningetaka recap the last time tulikuwa hapa, what we had discussed and today's topic whereby unaelezea what jobs people should expect and how to go about it huko.
Yeah. First of all, I'm sorry we were not able to meet on Wednesday because of unavoidable circumstances. But just to recap on what we talked earlier, my previous sessions, we are basically discussing on how you can come here as an international student, especially those who want to come and study master's level studies here in the US. And now, what we're gonna be discussing today is basically because I get a lot of people asking me questions like, how now, if you come as an international student, how are you able to transition now from being a student to someone who is working in the US? Okay, and I usually like giving my own story because I came to the US as an international student. I came here as a master's student. I came to do an MBA. And then after I graduated from school, I was finding it a little bit, not actually a little bit, quite hard to get a job in corporate America. And I realized also a lot of people also face the same problems. Okay, so many of our people, they come here as international students. They are done with their studies, but it becomes very hard for them to transition into corporate America. Okay, and in today's session, I want to explain exactly how you can be able to do that if you come here in the US as a very, very serious and very smart international student. Okay, now here's the thing. When you come here as a student, of course, you're going to be on a student visa. All right. Now, when you graduate, you are given a work authorization, okay, which is for students. It's usually 1 year work authorization. If you are coming for any degree out there, just regular kind of degree. Let's say, for example, you're coming for an MBA, you're gonna get 1 year of post-graduation work authorization, okay, which now you must try to find work within that 1 year, okay. And in fact, actually, you are supposed to find something within the first 90 days after you graduate from school. Okay, so it can be quite tough, especially for international students, because most American employers, they may not want to employ you because you just have a 1 year work authorization. Because most companies, they have to train you. You have to go through a lot of training. They spend a lot of money on you for you to actually get on board. Okay, so you find out that a lot of American companies may not be willing to sponsor, to work with international students, those who have graduated, because they just have 1 year post-graduation work authorization. Okay, and another thing is, I don't know whether I said this earlier in my previous, session that we had, but for you actually, see now, once you are given that 1 year post-graduation work authorization, if you want to live longer than that here and work, you actually have to do something else also. You have now to make sure that you get an employer who is willing now to sponsor you beyond the 1 year that you get after you graduate from school. Okay. Now, how do you do that? That's where a lot of people find problems. A lot of our people, a lot of Africans. Okay, even me, I was finding it very hard to be able to figure that out because I didn't know. When I came here as a student, I had no idea what I needed to do. Okay, all I did was, I was so happy that I had gotten a visa. Okay, and I was just happy. I was just coming in the US. I knew I was not going back to Kenya because me, I didn't want to go back. Okay, I had said, I'm coming here, I'm going to figure it out. But it's not easy for everybody. So you really have to know. That's why I like sharing this information so that if you are planning on coming here, then you're going to be having that information way in advance. So you don't have to have any problems. So anyways, so you get that 1 year post-graduation work authorization. And now within that 1 year, you must find an employer who is willing to sponsor you to live and work here long term. Okay? Now, here's the thing. Here in the US government has visas that it gives to international students or those people who have the right skills, okay, to live and work here. Okay, one of those visas is called H1b Visa. Okay, it's basically a work visa for professionals, okay, that allows you to work here in the US for 3 years and then a further 3 years. So a max of 6 years. Okay, so it's called H1b Visa. Okay, so remember, I don't want to confuse you guys. So remember, when you graduate from school, let's say, for example, in this case, you have an MBA, right? I'm just giving my own example. I came as an MBA student. You graduate with an MBA, you get 1 year of post-graduation work authorization. Okay, it's still a school-related work authorization, but it allows you to work anywhere. It allows you to start looking for jobs. Okay, but now within that 1 year, you must find an employer, an American company that is willing to sponsor you to live and work here long term. Okay, and you live and work here long term through a work visa called H1b Visa. All right, this visa is it's given to skilled professionals. Okay, those who have skills mostly Americans don't have. All right, and it's for 3 years and a further 3 years, so up to 6 years. Okay, now the problem is getting that H1b visa, or getting that employer who is willing to sponsor, is usually very hard, because the problem is, now the US, companies here, let's say, for example, my own company, Appstech America, before we employ an alien or an international student, we are required to make sure that Americans, we are not bypassing Americans who have exact same skills. Okay, all right, because at the end of the day, we also have to pay for your sponsorship. So we have to make sure that you are not employing you and refusing to employ an American. Okay, so that's really how it is. So now you, as an international student, you have to prove to an employer, like, let's say, for example, us, that you have skills that Americans don't have. Okay, and now that's why it becomes a problem, because a lot of international students who come here, most of them usually have just academic skills. Okay, now let's say, for example, when I came here as a student and I graduated from school with my MBA, I only had academic skills in terms of the MBA that I had already done. Okay, back in Kenya, I had only worked for like 6 months as a tailor. Okay, and now here in the US, if you say, for example, I have experience as a tailor, and I have an MBA. Tailor jobs are usually done by people who have graduated from high school. Okay, so you see now where the problem is. So, like, for example, when I graduated, I didn't have the skills that Americans didn't have, because there's so many Americans out there who can be tailors. Okay, all right. So what I had to do was to figure out now, how do you get those skills that Americans don't have? Because that's really the only way that you can actually be able to live and work here and get work authorization. Okay, because there's other means that actually you can get papers to live and work here, and which a lot of our people use. People get married to American citizens. People file asylum, within the first year that they land in the US, even if you land as a student. So a lot of people do that. But if you really want to follow the right path, basically, if you come here, you're smart, and you really want to get a job, you want to be sponsored by a company, you have to have skills most Americans don't have. Okay, now if you come here and you are a tailor, it's going to be very hard for you to convince a company to employ you, because there's so many Americans who are tailors. I mean, they are looking for those kind of jobs. Okay, so like for me, what I did was I got trained. Okay, I realized most international students from India that were in my class, they were not struggling getting these good jobs. And when I talk good jobs, I talk about jobs where you're working, getting paid really good money. You're working in corporate America. Okay, you're not working, you're not working, for example, in a fast food where you're getting paid like minimum wage, or working in a nursing home where you're getting paid maybe $12, $15 an hour. No, I'm not talking about those jobs. Those ones you can always get them. But if you really want to work, let's say, for example, in corporate America, making maybe $40, $50 an hour, you have to have the skills that Americans don't have. Okay, so how do you go about that? How do you get now those skills? Let's say, for example, you come here, you don't have any skills, you just have academic skills. How do you do that? So what I did, and this is what I always advise people, okay, for me, I got trained. I realized these Indians, the Indians who were in my class, they are all graduating, they are getting good jobs. Okay, they are not struggling. Every Kenyan or every African that I knew in my school, all of them, including me, we were struggling to get a job. Okay, in fact, actually, I had to extend school by 1 semester because I couldn't find anything, even an internship. Okay, all right. So me, I started looking at what they were doing. Okay, and I started asking them, how come, someone, this guy was able to get a job? So they told me, you can be trained in the IT industry. You can be trained as an IT consultant. Okay, and you just need to pick the right skill that you know that you can do. Okay, you don't have to know any coding, because me, I didn't have any, coding background. Okay, a lot of people also fear IT so much. All right, so I didn't have any coding background. So they told me, hey, you know what? There's a lot of trainings out there. All you need to do is just get trained on one skill that you can be good at, and that's it. And then with this skill, because this is a job skill, you'll be able to showcase to potential employers that you have the skills that Americans don't have. Okay, and that's how I was able now to get. So me, I started looking for, finding places, companies that are able to train me. Mostly Indian companies, by the way. A lot of Indian consulting firms, they do these training programs. Okay, so you get trained, and these are job skills training. Okay, so that's how I got into the IT industry. So I got trained as a systems analyst implementing Oracle system. Oracle is one of those complex systems that companies use to record their day-to-day transactions. Okay, now let's say, for example, if you work in an organization as an accountant, because also back in Kenya, I used to be an accountant. I had done BCom in accounting and finance, and also I had done some ACCA up to like part 2. ACCA is pretty much more like CPA, but it's UK based, okay, but it's very similar to CPA. The CPA that you do, CPA 1 all the way to CPA K, something like that. Yeah, that's something like that. So I was pretty much an accountant, okay, but still, having accounting academic skills was not really enough for me. Okay, so anyway, so I was trained as an Oracle systems analyst, okay, to implement that system for companies, because it's an accounting system. Okay, now rather than now me being someone who is an accountant using that system to use it on a day-to-day basis as an accountant, what I was trained was to be that person now who configures that system behind the scenes for accountants to use. Okay, all right. So that kind of a skill, it's not for everybody out there on the streets. Okay, it's not for anybody out there. A lot of people don't know about it. Okay, so if I was not told about this, me, I was looking for jobs as an accountant. Okay, and even jobs as an accountant, by the way, those jobs don't pay that much, even here in the US. Okay, you're gonna be paid, let's say, for example, $20, $25. That's not a lot of money. I tell people, like, when you come here in the US, man, and you're smart, you need to be making really, really good money. Okay, aim to be making like a 6-figure salary. 6-figure salary is basically where you're making around $100,000 a year. And that equates to about 1 million Kenya shillings. It's possible. Okay, because this is what these Indians do. All right, I don't know whether I said this before, but mostly Indians here or Asians, they make a lot of money. Their median household income is about $100,000 per year. And the median household income of Africans is less than 60,000. Okay, in fact, actually, Africans who make most money, it's Nigerians. They make around 60,000. Now you can see our best performing group of African immigrants, it's Nigerians making about 60. And the best group of immigrants here in the US they are making 100,000. That's a big gap. It's almost like double. Okay, and it's because these guys know what they need to get in terms of job skills. That's what they perfected. If you get into the tech industry as a consultant, most people that you'll find there, they're usually Indians. Indians, like 70-80% of people that you'll work with, if you're working as an IT consultant here in the US, it's usually Indians. Even the Americans themselves, they are not in that industry that much. Okay, all right. So Indians, they'll come as international students. Before they graduate, they've already been trained as consultants. They've already been trained, for example, on those skills that I got trained on, for example, Oracle, SAP. Oh, there's a lot of trainings out there. Okay, I don't want to sound so technical, okay, to a lot of people, but all you need to do, if you are really smart and you want to get a very well-paying job, then you have to have a skill that most Americans don't have. Period. That's what you need to focus on. Okay. And some of these skills, these are very like when you talk about you making a 6-figure salary, what I always like people understanding is this. Like, there's no company that will pay you about 1 million Kenya shillings a month when that kind of a skill that you have is a skill that it can be gotten from anybody out there on the street. You understand what I'm saying? Like, if you really want to command good money, you have to have skills where you are actually solving very complex problems for companies. Okay, if I employ you and the only thing that you can do is just, fix a computer that is broken, I can't pay you that kind of money. And I'm not willing to actually sponsor you as a company, you as an international student, sponsor you to live and work here long term, because you don't have skills that, that are solving really complex problems for our company. Okay, so that's really what, if you're out there, that's what you need to understand. If you're out there and you're very smart and you really want to come here, finish school and graduate and get a good job, okay, you have to have a skill that is very, very marketable, a skill that Americans don't have. Okay, if you have a skill that everybody has, no one will sponsor you. And that's why a lot of our people struggle so much. Okay, I don't know whether I said this previously, but Mutembe, a lot of our people, most of them actually, they don't have the right document to live and work here in the US. And most of those people, they came to the US as international students. Okay, they came as international students. Maybe they were not able to complete their school because they didn't have the, they didn't have the money to go to school and stuff like that. Or some of them, a lot of others, they completed school, but they were not able to figure it out. Okay, they just finished. No company is hiring them. Just like the way I was. Me, I had to extend school by 1 semester. Okay, we also have other international students. We have a lot of our people actually who are career students. Okay, these are things that you need to know about. I'm not trying to scare anybody. All right, I like telling things the way they are. Okay, you might not like it, that's fine. Okay, but I'll tell you this is how things are, and it's up to you now to figure it out early enough. Okay, there's a lot of people here in the US who came as students and they are still students. 10 years down the line, they are still in school. Can you believe that? I know people, seriously. There's one gentleman, when I went, the school that I went to, I met him there in that school as an undergraduate student. Okay, I finished my master's, I got employed, I worked in I worked in corporate America for quite some time. I quit my job, I started my company, I started bringing people to come and, study here in the US. And one of my students who went to the same school, I brought to that school, they found him there as a student, 12 years down the line. Okay, and that's just one example. A lot of our people, they are out there as career students. Why? Because, now here's the thing. Now, let's say, for example, you are working as, you come here as an international student, you graduate, you are not able to get, you are not sponsored by a company. And you don't want to fall out of status because remember, I've said this before, that you have to maintain if you don't want to be illegal, or if you don't want to have, you don't want to be in a situation where you don't have the documents of living and working here, what a lot of people do, they go back to school. Okay, now let's say, for example, you graduate, you get that 1 year post-graduation work authorization, you get it, but you are not able to find an employer who can actually file for your H1b Visa to live and work here for up to 3 years and a max of 6 years. Then the other option that you have is for you to go back to school. You understand? Now, if you don't go back to school, you're gonna be here. And if you don't go back to school and you don't go back to your country, then you're gonna be here illegally. You're basically staying here with no legal documents that allows you to live and work here. Okay, a lot of people take that option. Okay, but also a big number of others, they decide to go back to school. Okay, now imagine, and I've said this, like, it's very expensive to study here. Like on average, about a year, it's gonna cost you about $25,000 per year for you to study. Now imagine you finish your MBA, you are not able to get a job. Okay, you've utilized that post-graduation work authorization. Okay, but still you are not able to find an employer who would be willing to sponsor you long term. Then you go back to school again and do another MBA. It's going to cost you another $20,000, which you actually don't even have. You understand? So this is the problem that a lot of our people face. Okay. Alternatively, maybe you go back and then now decide to take up a PhD. I've seen a lot of people with PhDs here in the US, a lot of them. And it's not because they love being in school or doing these PhDs. No. Don't be fooled. These are people, they didn't have any other choice. The only choice they had, they came as a master's student, but they didn't want to be out of status, basically meaning with no documentation to live and work here. What they decided to do was to go one extra level for a PhD, which they didn't like. Most of them, it's not like they like it. So this is the reality. Okay, so now you take up another PhD, you spend another 4 years still in school. Okay, all right. And then now, once you graduate with that PhD, again, you're going to get another post-graduation work authorization, okay, of 1 year. Then again, you're going to go through the same cycle. Try to look for an employer who will sponsor you to live and work here long term again. So if you don't find anything, again, what do? Most people, they go back to school again. So we have people here who have been in school for so many years. They are basically career students. And it's all because they don't have the document. They don't have the legal document to live here. So the only way that they can maintain their status as a student is basically to go back to school. And you keep going back to school, you pay so much money. If you don't go back to school, then you basically, you won't have any documents. Unless now you get married to someone, you can't even file asylum, because also here in the US, here for you to file asylum, you can only file asylum if you've been in this country not more than 1 year. Okay, all right. So if you've been in school past 1 year, there's no way, you don't have the option for asylum. The only option that you have is for you to marry an American, okay, to get papers. All right, and that's why I always like discussing this topic, because it's very, very important. A lot of our people, they don't think about this. All they think of is coming. Oh, me, I just want to get there. But then what? Then what, Mutembe? When you come here as a student and you can't even get a good job, you spend so much money. Here in the US, man, I've said like it costs like $25,000 per year. If you're coming for a master's program, $25,000 per year for 2 years. For 2 years as a master's student, you can spend almost $40,000, including living expenses and all that. That's a lot of money. Okay, now if you're not prepared, you're gonna find yourself in the exact same situation that a lot of our people find themselves. Okay, so that's why it's very, very important. When you are still in school, get training. Okay, get trained. There's a lot of trainings out there for job skills. Okay, we offer some of those trainings, by the way. For us, we mostly focus on those who want to get into the IT industry. We basically train on the same kind of skills that I was trained on. All right, so you get those skills and you'll be able now to get a job, and a job that will sponsor you. Okay, if you do that. Now, let's say, for example, now you get a company that is willing to sponsor you, just like the way I did, okay? So you're going to get sponsored, okay? They're going to sponsor you. You're going to get maybe 3 years of authorization, and then again, another 3 years. Now, in those 6 years, you must convince this same company that sponsored you to sponsor you for a green card. Okay, because remember I said that work authorization that you get for up to 6 years, it's still not long. I mean, it's just for 6 years. Okay, the work authorization is called H1b Visa. Yeah, so it's still not long term. You still need to live and work here without any limitations, and you can only be able to do that with a green card. Okay, so what you do is now this company that sponsored you now on that H1b Visa, within the first 3 years, you tell them, hey, you know what? I want to work for you long term, and you guys, can you file for my green card? And they normally do it because also they want to keep you as long as you have the skills. Okay, and I always tell people, like, remember also the US government, they like keeping those smart people here. That's why they have these H1b visas. In fact, actually for H1b visas, they give up to 85,000 H1b visas every year. Okay, and now also they offer employment-based green cards, okay, to immigrants or people who have the skills and the education that most Americans don't have, and they give around 140,000 employment-based green cards. Okay, so now within that 6 years, you must convince now this company again to file for your green card. Okay, because all these filings that you hear me talking about, you don't do it yourself. It's the company that does. The company sponsors you. Okay, so now if you convince them, they'll go ahead and file for you. As long as you're doing your job, you're making money for the company, you're solving company's problems, they're gonna file for you. Okay, but they can't file for you for a green card if you are just a normal, regular, let's say, for example, a regular staff accountant entering invoices. That job, anybody can do that kind of a job. Okay, you know, even these companies, they spend a lot of money, even on lawyer fees, okay, to sponsor you, to file for your case. It costs a lot of money, and even paying to the government, because that visa, they also have to pay, apart from the lawyer fees. It's a lot of money. It costs up to like $10,000. Okay, so not company will be willing to spend that kind of money on someone who is not good enough. Okay, so that's why I keep on saying, like, if you're really, really smart, okay, if you come here, if you come for your master's, undergraduate, whatever it is, get those job skills, because that's really what will propel you to financial stability. There's a lot of our people, you see, when you're back in your country, if you're not here in the US, you know, we tend to think like everybody who is here in the US, they are doing well. It's not really the case. Believe me, it's not the case. Okay, and they might be doing well if you are comparing yourself with them here. I mean, for example, if someone is making a minimum wage of $10, or even, let's say, for example, about $15, you might think like $15 an hour, it's 1,000. Let's say, for example, you're from Kenya, it's 1,500 Kenya shillings an hour. Okay, and maybe back in Kenya, you're earning, let's say, for example, 20,000 Kenya shillings, or maybe 30,000. Me, I used to earn that 5,000 working at Equity Bank. After taxes, I was getting about 29,000 Kenya shillings. So if I was comparing with what I could earn in the US, let's say, for example, making minimum wage $10 an hour, that's like 1,000 Kenya shillings. In 8 hours a day, that's 8,000. In in 5 days, that's 40,000. So in a week, yeah. So if you look at it that way, then you'll be thinking, oh, I'm making 40,000 in the US in a week, whereas I was making about 29,000 Kenya shillings in a month. So I'm better off in the US. Okay, so that's what really a lot of people look at. But that should not be how you look at things, especially if you're coming here as a very, very smart person and someone who is skilled. Okay, you should look at what kind of skills can you bring here that will enable you to get really good job that will be paying you really, really good money. And in this case, a job that will probably end up getting you paid like around 1 million Kenya shillings a month. Okay, 1 million. That's usually the target that I always tell people. If you're smart and you have the right skills, target on making 1 million. It's very, very possible. 1 million Kenya shillings a month. That's about $10,000 a month. It's possible. All you need to do is have the right skills. Okay, and that kind of a job, that job will sponsor you. Okay, but if you come here just as a regular accountant, like for example the way I was, even if you get a job, That job will pay you around $20 an hour, even 25. That's not a lot of money, okay? Because you see, here in the US, it can be very expensive. Okay, it can be very expensive. If you're living in an apartment, you know, a decent apartment, you're gonna be paying about $1,000 on average a month. Okay, $1,000. Okay, and your other living expenses here and there, you know, it's gonna be some really good money that you have to, you know, you have to spend. Okay, so you see, if you want to live that kind of life where, let's say, for example, you know, you have a house, you know, you have a mortgage, you are paying for your car, you know, you have a nice car, you are paying for it, you have a mortgage, let's say, for example, a mortgage of $1,500, $2,000, you need a very good job. You need a very, very good job. A job that pays you close to 1,000,000 Kenya shillings. Okay, all right. Now, and if you also want to support people back home, because you can't support people back home if you don't have a very good salary. Okay, that's what I try to tell people, you know. So you need to make sure that you have those skills. And that's why it's very, very important that once you come here, you start looking at getting trained on those job skills, because that's really what will propel you to somewhere, that financial stability that you really want here in the US. Okay, don't come here and start earning minimum wage. If you're smart, basically, if you are sharp, and if you know, if you passed well in school back in Kenya, you've done your undergraduate, came here for masters, you finished your masters, get paid well. There's a lot of the good thing with this country is there's a lot of opportunities. I'm telling you, man, you just have to, as long as you have the skill, there's opportunities here for good money. I've worked with people actually making even $200 an hour. I talk about these things and people think I'm crazy. No, I'm not. Okay, it all depends with the level that you want to be. If your aim is to just make $20 an hour, that's why you're gonna be stuck. Okay, but if you're aiming to make $50 an hour minimum, you're gonna get there. Nothing will stop you. All right, me, I started making really good money 1 year after graduating from school. Making 1,000,000 Kenya shillings a month 1 year after graduating from school. It's possible. You just need to be ambitious. You just need to be focused. You just have to have the right skills that companies are looking for. If you're not ambitious, if you just come here, oh, I'm in the US, you know, you're just gonna be like almost a lot of other people and making nothing. You're barely surviving, okay, because it's very, very expensive here. Maybe you can take a few, you know, you can take a few questions from the audience and I can try to answer them. You're watching Success with Bob Mwiti Show, presented to you by Appstech America. Appstech America is a consulting company that helps immigrants find amazing higher education and job opportunities in the tech industry in the United States. You can find our programs by going to www.appstechamerica.com. Appstech America, we wake you up to the unlimited potential within you.
So I'm asking about these skills.
Uh-huh.
Where do they get the skills? Are they gotten from the schools? There are companies giving the skills to people, and how much does it cost? And do people know about it?
Very good question. Now, the school will only give you academic qualifications. Okay, you come for an MBA, for a master's, you're gonna get academic qualifications. Now, it's up to you to figure out now, where do I get these skills? Now, for example, I say there's a lot of companies out there. You just need to search on the internet. Just do your homework. There's a lot of companies out there that offering this kind of skills. We are one of them, actually. We do offer these skills. Okay, we train people on Oracle, financials, robotics, data science, all these job skills. Okay, so all you need to do is just look for those companies that offer skills that are very closely related to what you went to school for. Okay, and then the thing is, most of these companies, they will train you and also give you the job, find you the job. Okay, that's how I got my job. So this company, and they train you for free, most of them actually. Okay, there are some that charge. Okay, they charge, you know, for you to be trained. Okay, and if you are good, then they get you a job. But also, like for example, for example, the company that trained me, they didn't charge me upfront. Okay, they deferred that amount. Okay, it was like $10,000, the cost of that training that I went through, but I didn't have to pay it upfront. Okay, so I negotiated with them and I paid them through my own salary. Okay, so they trained me, okay, for about 5 months. And then after that, they got me a job as a consultant, okay, as an Oracle systems analyst. And then now they were able to cut whatever, cost of the training, I had incurred from my salary. But companies can't do that if they realize you're not that smart, okay, because also they are not that stupid. They don't want just to train anybody just like that, just because they want to be trained. You also have to prove that you're good. By good meaning, you have really good GPA when you come to school here and you're studying. When you graduate, you can show that I was scoring like 3.5, 3.7, 4.0 GPA. Like for me, I scored really, really good GPAs because even in school, I was getting graduate assistantship awards, which is basically like a scholarship every semester that I was in school. So I was pretty good. Okay. And of course, also I had a very good undergraduate background. Okay. So if you show that, then companies will always be willing to sponsor you. Willing to train you and give you those skills that you are looking for, and they'll look for a job for you and they'll make money out of you. Okay, so it's up to you to actually do your research work when you're still in school. Don't wait until you graduate, because you're gonna graduate, you don't have the skills, it's gonna be very hard for you. The other day, I went to a party for a Kenyan, and I met some Kenyan students, going to University of Florida. Okay, a few Kenyan students, some with PhDs and masters, and they were saying, "Oh, you know what? We are going back." I'm like, "Why?" "Oh, you can't find a job." That's the reality. Okay, you see a lot of people when they're out there, they don't know about these things. You just know that, I'm gonna come to the US, I'll get a job. It's not that easy. If you just want any job out there, there's a lot of jobs. You could be working somewhere cleaning people's houses. You could be working in a fast food, But if you want real job, like good job, you have to really sweat. Like you really have to work for it.
Okay. Now I can see so many questions. So when I click the question, then you will be answering.
Okay. Someone is asking, how do you pay for the tuition? My understanding maybe is for school tuition. If you haven't watched, I think we talked about this in my previous sessions. You can always go to my YouTube channel, Bob Mwiti. I've talked about how you can be able to pay for your tuition fees here in the US. Okay, there's ways. There is something called Graduate Assistantship Awards that schools give to bright students who want to come and study here. All right, there's also student loans, international student loans. And some of these loans, you don't need to have any cosigner, or you don't have to have any collateral, okay, or security for that matter. Okay, you just need to show that you're smart. Smart being you've been able to pass, because if you're coming for a master's here in the US, there's some exams that you have to do. There's an exam called GMAT if you're coming for an MBA or an IT business kind of a program, Graduate Management Admissions Test. Do that exam, pass well, you're going to go to a very good school, and also you're going to get funded in terms of unsecured international student loan. Okay, there's two lenders out there. One of them is our official lending partner called Empower Financing. Okay, Empower Financing. If you go to our website, www.appstechamerica.com, you'll be able to find some of those lenders that give loans to international students. But you have to be good. That's what you need to remember, because these loans, they don't just give to anybody just like that, just because you want them. You have to show that you're smart, you're sharp. And the only way that you can be able to show that you're sharp is actually having a very good GMAT score or GRE score. GRE is pretty much the same as GMAT. It's only for those who want to come and maybe study some science kind of program. Let's say, for example, if you're coming for computer science, biology, blah, blah, all those kind of programs, you're going to have to do GRE. It's pretty much the same. It tests your IQ ability, IQ level, sorry. Okay, it's math, it's English. Very tough exam, but you have to prepare well for it if you really want to get Graduate Assistantship Awards. Okay, so that's how you can fund your education. Graduate Assistantship Awards and unsecured international student loans. Because when you come here as an international student, you cannot get federal loans, the ones that normally Americans get from the federal government. You can't, because you are not an American. Okay, but there's those other lenders that I've talked about. One of them is Empower Financing. They are one of our official partners. Okay, we work with them. They give our students loans. Okay, then there's also another lender called Prodigy Finance. They also give unsecured international student loans. Now, the problem with Prodigy Finance is that you have to have a very, very good credit score back in your country. Okay, so if you don't have like an excellent score, they can't give you a loan. But with Empower, the good thing with Empower, they don't care about your score, credit score. Empower gives pretty much every student who comes through our programs, okay, they get Empower loan. All you need to show is show that you're smart. Okay, if you have a good, GMAT score, you are going to a school that partners with them, because they don't just work with any schools out there. There's so many schools here in the US. They work with really good schools. You're gonna get funded.
Oh, thank you.
There's
So,
Kia who is
before
asking
before before
connect.
ujibu hiyo swali, guys,
Mm-hmm.
Bob Mwiti ako na kampuni. He normally takes very sharp students kufanya masters US, and the masters must be on IT and business. Na kama
Yes,
unataka
IT and
to know
business.
so much about his job, you can subscribe to his YouTube channel Bob Mwiti. Ukiingia pale kwa YouTube channel utaona kitu inaitwa Bob Mwiti, the one that you can see there kwa screen, Bob Mwiti channel. Just ingia kwa YouTube channel, subscribe hapo. He has so many content about America, about US, about how he takes people there. But wale watu werevu kabisa kama Mutembei. So you just, kama uko na pickup
Good.
mzuri, just get link to him, alafu hata akuunganisha na the loans people. Si lazima uko na cash, but he can link you. I heard that you can apply ukiwa hapa Kenya. Can you get the loan ukiwa Kenya?
Yes.
Okay.
You don't have to be here. Yes, unapata loan ukiwa Kenya. Once you get here in the US and once you register for your classes, the lenders, they now wire the funds to the school, and those loans, they take care of your tuition fees and some of your living expenses.
Okay, let's continue the questions.
Yeah, someone here is asking, connect me, please. Okay, we can connect. You just need to follow me on YouTube, or also you can go to our website. Once you get there, there's a lot of information there. If you want to reach out to us, there's email there that you can use, and we can connect. Also, I have a Facebook page that you can always go and check out. I share a lot of information about coming to study here in the US, if you are very, very bright and serious student. Okay, there's someone here who's saying, "Huyo employer unapata aje?" That's what I said, that you need to take those steps of getting job skills. Get trained on those job skills, okay? There's a lot of companies out there that do these training programs where they train you, and then later on now they hook you up with a job, a good job in corporate America. That's how I was able to get that's how I was able to get a good job here and get into corporate world. Okay, there's someone here who's complimenting us. Thank you so much, Mudhoni. Thanks a lot. There's someone here who's asking about agricultural jobs over there. Is there any? I believe there's something for everybody. All right, you just need to do your research. There's a lot of information out there on the internet. See, a lot of people, the problem is they don't take that time to actually do a lot of research work. I always tell people, take time, don't rush. Okay, take time, go through. The information is right there in front of your computer. All you need to do is just do your research, try to find that information, and you'll get it. I believe there's a lot of jobs, agricultural jobs here. I see also a lot of African students who come here for agricultural, internships. Okay, they've done, agriculture back in Kenya, okay, or back in Africa. I have seen a few of them. In fact, actually, I know someone who connects students to come and do those kind of things here in the US. They come on H1b Visa, which is basically for internship. You come here on a 1 year, internship, you work in a farm, whatever, and after that, you're able to figure things out. It's possible. You just need to do your research. Okay, there's someone here is asking, how can I get for studies to America? Which procedures? Well, if you're looking into how to get here as a student, I've shared a lot of that information on my YouTube channel. All you need to do is just go there, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Okay, I've given steps. I share a lot of information about the schools that you can come to study. I analyze all of them. A lot of information out there about coming and studying here in the US as a serious international student. Someone is asking about plant operators needed. I believe so. You just need to focus on, doing your research, take your computer, check out. There's a lot of opportunities out there. You just need to do your research more. Again, it's possible for you to come and study here, all right? You just need to, decide what level are you coming to study. I always encourage people to come and do their master's, because also getting a student visa is very hard, all right? If you are coming for undergraduate or a 2-year, program for something called, what is it called? Community college. It's going to be very hard for you to get a student visa. Just go to my YouTube channel. I've talked a lot about that information, about how to come here, what levels that you can come and study here. Okay, you can even come here for your high school if you want. Okay, but getting a visa is going to be a challenge. You're going to get a visa if you're more likely to get a visa if you're coming for either master's, PhD level. Yeah, there's someone here who's saying that she's at St. Paul University, Minneapolis. Yeah, that's good, Shamsa. Yeah. Any other question, Mutembei, before we wrap up?
Yeah. Huyu anateta hapa.
Kuna huyu. You always get all kinds of people, yeah? Apart from employment, what else can someone do there? I mean, apart from being employed, you can also start your company, okay? So there's also that option of being an entrepreneur. If you have something, you come up with something innovative, yeah, you can start something here in the US. And, systems work here. You don't have to bribe anybody. Is there any age limit? I think that's a good question. Is there any age limit for somebody to be trained in these skills? No, there's no age limit. I mean, as long as you've not, you're not past that retirement age, you should be good. Someone asking also, is there any link to do applications? I've said that if you go check out our company's website, Abstract America, you'll be able to see what we offer for those who want to come and study here in the US. Once you get there, you'll be able to figure things out. There's a lot of information out there. Another question maybe you can share. Someone is saying they got a job. That's good. Okay, there's this one asking, what's the lowest qualification for MBA? Well, for you to come and do an MBA, you need an undergraduate bachelor's degree, all right? Probably maybe at least a second lower with a good GPA, maybe a 2.5, you should be able to find a school. Okay, this is a good question. Mercy Darlene. How long should you take to apply for F1 visa after refusal? Okay, here's the thing. If you get denied a student visa, don't go back immediately to just, to reapply again without thinking about it. There's a reason why people get denied, and I've talked about this. There's reasons why people get denied visas. Okay, one of them is funding. If you go there and start claiming your uncle is going to fund you, even if it's your uncle who is going to fund for your education, you're going to get denied. 99.99%, they're going to deny you. Because that's what that's the story that a lot of people go with there. Oh, my uncle they get bank statements somewhere and then they claim it's the uncle who's going to pay for the education. Chances are very high that you're going to get denied a student visa for that. But if you have something like a student loan, if you have a scholarship, it's going to be very easy for you to get the student visa. Now, if you get denied, you have to know, why did you get denied? Was it because of your bank statement that you provided? You know, there's also a lot of people out there, they take bank statement, and then that bank statement, maybe in the last few days before they went to the embassy, somebody deposited some big chunk of money, you know, for them now to show that they have the balance that is needed. You know, let's say, for example, the school needs about $20,000. You find that someone deposited about $15,000 in the bank statement in the last 10 or whatever days. That's going to get you denied. So you have to think about those things. Don't just go to reapply again without thinking about why were you denied in the first place. And then now you must change. The reason why you are denied, you can't just take the same profile to the embassy and think that there's going to be some miracle. No, there's no miracle about this whole thing. Remember, as I've said, I think I've shared this in my previous sessions, that I was denied visa 4 times. 4. Okay, so I know the pain of being denied a student visa. Okay, so if you get denied, don't just go back there after 1 week and try to say, oh, you know what, because I see a lot of people, they get denied student visas, they think the other person denied them because they were in bad moods and all that, they didn't like them, and then they just go back and try to apply again. You're gonna get denied. Okay, remember, these guys are there, they are professionals. They are there actually. I said this in my other sessions, that actually the US law tells them to assume that you're gonna come here and you won't go back. Okay, so their main goal is to actually deny you. They are thinking that you want to come here as a student, use a student visa to come to the US, and you will not go back to your country. Now it's up to you to prove otherwise. Okay, so they are there as professionals. They don't go there with emotions and this, because a lot of people, I find them say, oh, they didn't like me, oh, that guy didn't. No. You approach your student visa very professionally, know exactly, you know, what you're gonna say, basically look like a real student. Do you have the funding? If you are claiming someone will pay for you, who is not even your dad or your mom, it just shows that you're not a serious student. Which uncle, even, I mean, there's instances where an uncle will pay for you, but honestly, which uncle or auntie or cousin will pay $50,000 for you to come and study here, even though they are so rich? It doesn't make sense. That's not normal. Okay, so it's the same thing. And remember, these Americans also, they are not used to having your extended family paying for you, like the way maybe you do it in Kenya or in Africa. Here, you're on your own. Once you are 24, 21, they go to school here using federal loans. Okay, your parents, they don't pay for your education, so they use the same mentality. Okay, if you are going there claiming your uncle is going to pay 5 million Kenya shillings for you to come and study here, they won't believe that story, even if it's true. So you need to be smart about these things. So don't go to reapply if you haven't changed your situation. You have to change. If it was issued to do with funding, you presented a bank statement that they didn't like, go and get a loan, student loan. There's options. You can even get a consigned loan by someone who is here. If you have some families here, they can consign a student loan for you. You don't have to take the loan once you get here. They can just consign for you, and you take that approval letter, take it to the embassy. They'll give you the visa. So something else. Can you recommend some of the affordable universities for masters in the US? Well, if you follow me, if you go to my YouTube channel, in fact, actually, I've analyzed a lot of universities, in fact, more than 100 universities, okay, that you can come and study. And these are usually very affordable schools, okay, by US standards, okay. They may not look like they are very affordable if you look at it from, from an Africa. If you are like in a third world country, they may not look very affordable to you, but from the US perspective, yes, they are. Okay, you just need to figure out how now to get that funding for you to get into those schools. I've shared a lot of that information on my YouTube channel. You just need to go there and watch. Again, there's someone here who's asking, after school, how do I get a job? I think I've talked about this, right? You know, it's not that easy if you really, I mean, there's a lot of jobs out there. It all depends with the kind of job that you want to do. But if you really want to get in corporate world, make some really good money, all right, you know, where you are aiming to make 6 figures, maybe in a couple of years, 2-3 years down the line, then you have to have the skills. You can get trained on the right job skills and you'll be able to get there. Well, someone is asking about media studies. Well, I mean, he's asking, how do I get people to trust to get there? You don't need to trust. I mean, you don't need to get anyone. Just do your research. Go on the internet, get schools. We've talked about funding. Get companies that are able to lend you money, and you'll be fine. You don't. In fact, actually, see, here's the thing: you don't need anybody for you to get here in the US as a student. If you do your work well, if you do your research well, you don't need anybody. Okay, and I'm saying this from even as a business owner that deals with students who want to come and study here in the US. Okay, because for us, it's not just about coming here. We offer a lot of other things. Okay, there's other things. We know that it's very easy for you to go on the internet, go online, apply to a school, and you're gonna get accepted. It's that simple. But we offer other things apart from just coming to the US. But if you just want to come to the US to study, just go on the internet. There's a lot of information out there. You don't need anybody. Someone is asking, do you know about NCUK program? No, I don't know about that. I'm sorry. Okay, someone is saying, someone has advised me to apply to a community college. That happens a lot with our people. Okay, and especially if you have an undergraduate degree, don't go to a community college. You're not gonna get that visa.
Actually, Bob,
yes.
This is the lady mwenye alikuwa anasema alinyimwa visa, so it means alikuwa ameapply for that.
Yes, I think so. Yeah. I see now the connection. Yeah. You're gonna get. I think I talked about this last time, right? People get told, hey, you know what? The only way, I mean, just get a community college because it's cheap, and that's the way that you'll be able to come here as a student. You are coming to a community college, which is a 2-year program. I mean, a 2-year university where you do a 2-year program called associate degree. It's basically like a diploma back in Kenya, and you already have an undergraduate. How will you convince the visa officer that you are a real student? Real student don't do that. Real student, they come. If you have an undergraduate degree, you come for a master's. You don't go to do another a program that is an equivalent of a diploma. It's just common sense. But a lot of people, they get misadvised because now community college, they are much more cheaper than regular universities. It's not about cheapness that you have to look at. Look at your probability of getting that visa. How can you get a visa? You have a high chance of getting a visa if you come for a master's program, graduate level, master's, PhD, even undergraduate. Don't even try. I mean, I usually tell people, just stay in Kenya. I mean, just stay somewhere in Africa. You know, your audience might be a lot of people from other countries as well, but just do your undergraduate back in your country. Come for masters. Come for masters. Even once you do your undergraduate back in your country, you're gonna be more mature. You're gonna get here. I got here when I was 26. I was more mature. I know the hustle. You know, when you come here when you're 19, there's a lot of things that can go wrong. Someone here, very good question. I'm 42 years old with an undergraduate degree in BCom accounting. Can I be accepted to undertake a master's program? Yes. In fact, actually, there's a student who is coming through our program. He's about 43, and he's coming. He just got the visa. He's coming through our program. Just go to our website, www.appstechamerica.com. We can help you. Come here, go to school. You are 42 years old. You're not much more interested in going to school, but you want to go to school. Use that visa to come here, go to school, finish, and get a good job. You're already working. 42-year-old, expect them to be working, and we can help you. Kindly share some of the skills Americans lack that my daughter can do before coming here. One of them, IT. Okay, IT, it's a big deal. Here in the US, most people work in the IT industry. They are usually Indians, Asians. Okay, most Americans don't have that kind of skill. And I think also healthcare is also good, but I don't deal with healthcare, but IT is huge here. If you have IT skills, you have a high chance. Well, okay, there's someone asking for invitation letters. Well, I don't know how I can help on that. I'm sorry. Yeah, I mean, even coming for a second master's, it's okay. Okay, all right. It's okay to come for another second master's, but what you need to do when you're going to that embassy, you don't have to tell them that you have another master's because they're going to ask you, why are you coming for another master's? Just say you have talk about your undergraduate and the master's that you're coming to study here. Okay, you don't have to say you have another master's. You already have an undergraduate anyways. Okay, because if you say I have another master's, I'm coming to do another one, it's gonna complicate your case. Just say I'm coming for a master's, I have this undergraduate, period. You're gonna get the visa, and make sure you have funding, real funding. Don't go there claiming your uncle, claiming cousin, claiming auntie, grandma, grandfather, all those. Okay, I think we're gonna end this because I see time is almost up. We're gonna talk about more information about coming to study here in our next session. I think on Wednesday, I'm gonna explain a lot of other things. And if you have any questions, you can bring them there.
Unaweza jibu huyu wa mwisho, then we call it a day.
Yeah. Let me see. I have graduated with a bachelor's degree in education, English and literature. Can I get a scholarship to do a master's degree in literature? Well, again, scholarships are very hard to get. Okay, usually what schools offer is something called Graduate Assistantship Awards. Okay, I've talked about this a million times. Graduate Assistantship Awards, where basically they pay for your tuition and then you have to work within the department that gives you that award. Okay, check with the school. If you're coming for a master's, a lot of schools out there, they give these awards. Okay, I've shared a lot of information about the schools that you can come and study here. Go to my YouTube channel, watch those videos, check out those schools, ask them about Graduate Assistantship Awards. You're gonna get it, but they give you and then you work. It's not like free, you have to work. But you know, you work as a graduate assistant, you help out, professors, grading exams, doing invigilation for undergraduate, students, all that, doing research work. It's a very nice job. I used to do that kind of a job while I was in college, and they would pay for my school fees. And that's actually what we do also with some of the schools that we work with. That's what we try to get some of the students who come through our program. They get graduate assistantship awards and student loans. That's how they are able to fund their education here in the US. That's what you need to do.
Thank you, Bob. Naona time yako imeisha, but there is a mama hapo anataka umit daughter yake. I don't know whether you will be able to meet her. She's in US, Florida. Guys, we are so thankful.
USF is actually right here. We have some students studying there from our program. You can just give your daughter our company's details. They can reach out to us. We can talk. I'll be able to, give us some advice. Yes, the school is right. It's not far from where I live.
Thank you. Good people will be having Mwiti on Wednesday again. So just stay tuned in from 8 mpaka 9 p.m. Otherwise, Bob, acha tuachie hapo because time is not on our side.
All right.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, and you guys have a good day, everybody. You've been watching Success with Bob Mwiti Show, brought to you by Upstack America. Come back next time to hear more steps and missteps that I took on the path to becoming a successful immigrant in USA. Be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel and also follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn.